the one they're going to want to bring back down to their level. But we're going to Champion Select and see if they can actually make it happen in this stage of the game, because Champion Select is becoming pretty much one of the most important parts of the game.
Yeah, and it's not only just for these teams. We're talking about Vulcan and Cloud9 and how Cloud9 said they struggle against Vulcan. In this particular matchup, Tristana once again banned out against Double Lift. This is something that's becoming somewhat of a trend. They don't want Double Lift on that carry.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is one of the ADs that Double Lift picked up later. He was very Vayne dependent, and he would go to that Caitlyn next, but having picked up Tristana as well as Draven more recently, people started banning those out against him as well.
The rest of the bans, maybe some standard, some a little less. Vladimir, Nunu, Karthus, and Twisted Fate. Vladimir is the one that's thrown me for a little bit. We know Voidboy has played in the past, but were you expecting that as a ban?
Since Curse have been really favoring those double AP comps, I think that is CLG doing their research. They have been known to have, Big Fat LP do some of the best pre-game research and come out with those very specific bans. So I think that was aimed at taking out one of the team comps that Curse usually run, and so they changed it over and went with that Jace. So
Elise was the final ban, another champion we're not going to see in this matchup. Curse insta-locking in that Jace, securing that one away. Now, CLG are hovering over Corki and Maokai. It'll be a little non-traditional, and I'm not getting too excited yet, but there's a lot of thought going on.
So there's a couple things for CLG. Well, they're not going to even use it. Okay. But anyways, if they had picked Corki, Nien used to even play Corki middle, so there was a lot of switch-ups that they could do. Interesting hover over, but they go back to just very standard CLG stuff. They're not bringing out anything that they haven't used before. And it looks like Chaucer has gotten over his nerves on Thresh. Returning to the support role a little bit later, it took him a while to learn that Thresh and to be confident to use him in the LCS, but it looks like they have passed that threshold.
Yeah, his Thresh yesterday was a little bit better than what we have seen in past weeks. Niantanso on Shen as well, so picking up some of the champions that they have played already this weekend, and it hasn't revealed anything. It's safe picks, it's secure picks, and it basically signals that maybe they want to play slower in the laning phase at this time.
Well, in the interview we just saw, St. Vicious says, yes, we're going to be looking to pick off CLG because they always split push. One of the best champions to split push with is that Shen, so it's definitely a CLG pick here. Meanwhile, the Lee Sin is a bit of a rarity for Team Curse to have in the jungle, because St. Vicious, not exactly known for his mechanical ability coming from that jungle. It's more a Voidboy champion here, and he really made big waves using that Lee Sin top lane and trying to bully his lane around.
So there's the possibility we may still see a jungle being locked in a little later on. We've seen that there was a Zyra being hovered over for a moment or two for Curse, and we've seen support Zyras yesterday, but at the end of the day, Edward just locks in Sona, a safe pick. And on the other side, Pantheon has been secured.
That's interesting that they locked in so quickly, because I thought that was going to be another mouse over, but this is a very aggressive AD champion. He could put out so much damage very early in the game. You want to keep your eyes on what lane he goes to first, because that's where CLG are going to be focusing most of their efforts for the early kill.
Now, with the Pantheon in there, the fact that he's going to be able to do that Grand Skyfall and maybe help counter some of those split push and control the map a little more, you've got a global and a quasi-global in the form of Pantheon as well, so help control the map. On the other side for Curse, they're starting to round up their composition, thinking of going for that Draven for Cop.
Yeah, Cop's been using Draven a lot more recently since Edward joined the team. He's wanted to mold Cop into a more aggressive AD carry to fit his support style a lot more closely, and Draven is one of the perfect champions to do that on. Meanwhile, MF is the exact opposite, where Cop used to be known for being very far back.
And it does end up being switched back to the Draven. So they were thinking of going for that Wombo combo, the Maelstrom, the Bullet Time, but they decide against it. We've seen now the full roster here for Curse, and it's going to be St. Vicious in the jungle.
He's holding on to it right now. They still have a little bit of time to switch if they want to pull tricks, but it's probably going to be him, because anybody else going into the jungle would have a little difficult time starting out there. So we will get to see the St. Vicious Lee Sin coming from the jungle. The main points here from that Curse squad, though, is the switch over from that Zyra support that you're talking about to the Sona opens up so many more offensive combos. Zyra's great at her counter initiation, but Sona, with the offensive flash crescendos to start things off, will allow Voidboy to get a good slicing Maelstrom off on the rest of CLG if they can ever get them to group up for team fights. But meanwhile, CLG's got those 2 globals we talked about already.
Zed is also particularly good at split pushing as well. We always see Zed in those solo lanes. I remember seeing Reginald playing about 2 or 3 weeks back, and he was just destroying people's faces. So it's an interesting composition. They were swapping around a little bit. It is going to be Pantheon in the jungle as the last second swap. I want to know specifically about this. This is a champion we don't see in the jungle often.
So he's an amazing ganker. He comes out as soon as he has a jump and a stun in his W ability. So he has a gap closer that he will be able to use. And it really works well in this 3.8 jungle, actually, since the jungler gets help on his first buff, and then after the second buff, he's level 3 already and looks for the gank. We'll probably be seeing Big Fat LP go for that. And this is a really nice champion for Big Fat LP because he's said that he just wants to be the most annoying jungler in the entire game. And that's going to come from repeated Pantheon ganks very early on.
We'll have to keep a close eye on him because if he doesn't make those ganks stick and he's losing the farm, as we see from Big Fat LP all the time, it may make his mid to late game a little bit more difficult.
Pantheon has a hard time catching up because his clear speed is a lot slower than most other champions. So he's very much focused on getting those successful ganks.
So we are in game right now. Curse are on the blue side, starting to move towards their red buff, whereas on the other side, Counter Logic Gaming wearing the red trunks for this matchup. They've stacked up as 5, and they've definitely signaled an intent to invade, but they're going to step right on top of a ward. So Curse are going to be fully aware of their positioning, as we do have a very brief pause coming in.
And we have already had Big Fat LP start out with his Q Spear. So it's not going to be the threat of that CC stacking of Death Sentence plus a Pantheon jump for the first blood. He's not going to put himself behind in the jungle at all for this level 1.
Now talk to me a little bit about Saint Vicious's Lee Sin. It's something that we haven't seen him on really often at all. And you know, both of these junglers, they're very early game heavy and you know, quite good at these low level ganks. What are we expecting from Saint and Lee?
Saint Vicious is probably going to look to snowball Voyboy because that's where they like to focus a lot of their efforts. And it's very interesting because we have seen so many Lee Sins start with Doran's Blades just straight up with this new trend of skipping that Hunter's Machete, whereas Saint is still going with the old build, those 5 potions and the Machete, which means that he can stay out in the jungler a lot longer than anyone who had started Doran's Blade. So he's looking to make his moves early and then continue to sustain through the first 4 minutes or so of this game.
So we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. We do just have to have a quick client reboot. One of the guys over on Cursor was Cop's Machine, but we should hopefully have him back in the game very, very soon. And it does look like it has already been resolved. So, well played, tech guys.
Yeah.
CLG, very aggressive on this move.
Fastest reboot ever. It looks like they're going to continue the invade. Like you said, they were already seen out. So pretty much all they can gain from this invade at this point is getting the vision that they want down. And at this point, it's about putting your wards in unorthodox positions so that Curse cannot just come by with pink wards and clear those out.
So we did see this all day yesterday. A lot of these low-level multi-man invades just to get vision down, just to try to get more information. And I suppose when you're facing off against a Lee and a Pantheon with very strong early games, you'd want to have some of that additional vision.
Yeah, and there's 2 parts about the 3.8 patch that encouraged invades. One was, of course, moving so much more experience over to the buffs and putting a lot more emphasis on those buffs. But the other one was, delaying the spawn time of the smaller camps so that your solo lanes are not going to miss anything out, or even your duo lanes aren't going to miss out on experience by not starting one of the small camps too.
Yeah, it's basically completely reworked this level 1 aggression and level 1 planning. What we do see, the minimap is littered with wards right now. Curse have expended a lot, and it does look like they're about to find Saint Vicious and Cop right now. Link and Nien slowly moving in. They are stood on top of ward as well. That's 3 versus 2, and they're actually going to be bullied away.
Yeah, pretty easy there because no jungler was coming from CLG to contest. There was no smite steal threat that St. Vicious had to worry about, so he was able to get that one up. The only difference here is that Saint used his smite on the blue buff, whereas Big Fat LP still has his smite available because he got plenty of help on that blue buff.
So we'll see how quickly he can pick up his own red and maybe try roam around to set up some of these early ganks. We do see that CLG have put themselves in a lane swap position. They've put their duo lane up top, and they voluntarily put Niantanso's Shen against Draven and Sona in that bottom lane.
Yeah, it's interesting because Niantanso kept on talking about wanting to play versus Voyboy so much, but this definitely does make sense here to have that Shen trying to defend against the Draven, because Draven's range is not, as long as the Caitlyn, and Shen does have the threat of taunting him under a turret when he does go for that damage, so it's a little bit more dangerous than the average 2 versus 1.
You see in the middle lane, just trading back and forth as Nijaki's getting some good damage down onto Link. He's going to be able to heal that up relatively soon.
And the danger that we're talking about is coming right now. Big Fat LP got his 2 buffs, he's got his level 3, and he's coming to that Shen lane for the taunt setup.
So we'll see just if they can chain that CC, which is 2 very hard CCs, the taunt and the stun. It will, of course, lock up a very squishy Sona who's been famed for having less HP than caster minions not too long ago. But at the moment, it does look like he's just fending off that pressure, maybe defending the tower.
Yeah, and both of those people bottom have to be worried, because not only is Sona squishy, but Draven is very position dependent. If he goes to pick up an axe, Big Fat LP will see exactly where he's going to, because there's a giant shining light on the ground, and it can set them up for a very dangerous counter situation, which is why they're just going all the way back here and taking the double golems.
So we'll have to keep an eye on the Curse's jungle, St. Vicious. He's up in the top lane as well, helping defend, helping keep some of the pressure off that tower. And the reason I highlight that in particular is yesterday's early game where St. Vicious decided to stick in lane and force like a 2v2, 2v3 situation. It didn't really work out for them.
Yeah, and it would be good for Curse if they could force Big Fat LP to stay in a lane and do a similar thing, but he's actually gone back to the jungle. So all the lanes need to be wary of this Pantheon coming out of the jungle, because with a flash and stun combo, he can easily turn a gank into someone's death. And the ward coverage for Curse right now is very sparse. They only have that one in the bottom side, which actually did pay off right there, and see Big Fat LP.
So it works out for them. The one ward they do have, the one ward to rule them all, as
That's efficiency right there for you.
That's it. We do see St. Vicious. He's moved himself towards this mid lane. 13 CS on the board. Hammer gets dropped down into Link, and he's just going to use that Living Shadow to get away safely. Takes a little bit of poke, but not too much.
Can they set up a counter gank here? Big Fat LP wants Saint.
So Saint is going to trade damage back and forth. It's Aegis of Zonia from Pantheon's going to block some of that damage. Gets that shield down and works in his favor.
Yeah, whenever you get that passive up, the Aegis of Protection from Pantheon, you can see he's still at 100% life because it fully blocks an auto attack. And Lee Sin definitely came out on the worst for that trade.
I definitely will keep my eyes on Big Fat LP's mechanical use of Pantheon. Isn't the power that it actually offers for tower diving as well? If you combo it correctly, the passive into your W and you refresh your passive, that's 2 turret hits you could block.
And that is a lot of damage. It's not like having a passive, like Zac or something, where you can reset everything, but 2 first tower hits are huge, especially if it's a 3 versus 1 dive. It looks like that's not going to be happening here for CLG, as they just scare him off the turret, though.
Yeah, and take a look at that. I mean, after that gank in the mid lane, Link decides to just waltz himself through the Curse jungle and secures the first tower of the game, completely uncontested from Curse.
So the reason that CLG did that, where they had Link rotate, is because Big Fat LP was out of mana. So Link basically took over the roaming duties that the jungler usually has, and Link went to go gank. Well, Big Fat LP just got a couple free last hits in this mid lane.
Well, that's fantastic communication on the side of CLG, just rotating the champions and the positions to make sure that they don't lose pressure or farm, but they gain the global objective and global advantage. And you can immediately see that Chowster and Doublelift are now moving to this bottom lane to help defend their tower.
Exactly. It's been great management of resources here from CLG. They've timed this perfectly so that they actually Nian is a few minions off of that level 6. As soon as he gets in range at that top lane, 2 more minions will give him the possibility of stand united, and since CLG just rotated AD carry and support down bottom, they could take an early dragon.
We actually seen them poising there in and around the river. They put some vision down, and I think they both, or the team pretty much said, we need that stand united. We also seen St. Vicious, tagging the dragon and pulling out its pit.
But at the same time, we have Link rotating up top here, and he is actually waiting around to ambush Voyboy over here.
So we'll see how this one pans out. It's a bit of a timid start, and literally nothing happens.
Yeah. Both ninjas better at dodging than they are at landing their skill shots right there, and they both avoid any sort of harassment.
Interesting point, actually. There are 4 ninjas in this game right now, 2 apiece for both sides. So, interesting fact for anybody keeping track. Right now, Big Fat LP, he started off the Dragon. They've pink watered it up, so CLG knows they've got vision control.
And the Stand United has become available, like we said. Nien up top did get the minions needed, so he could join this fight, and this means that CLG will probably get an uncontested Dragon unless Saint can pull out some miracle steal.
So Saint's going to come up.
Oh,
it missed!
It was a little close. It was
so
close there.
Close. I think the Dragon had just been pulled a little bit out, and that max range Sonic Wave just not managing to land.
That is a very good point for people who are not used to the jungle. Always nice to leash the Dragon, draw him a little bit out of the pit so that your opponents cannot send over skill shots like that from the back and steal it away from you.
Yeah, and it's something that we actually see Aranea from Alternate doing so often with his Lee Sin play. I think he's stolen more Dragons and buffs in the EU split than any other jungler. It's been a very slow start to this game. 10 minutes on the clock and only that 1,000 gold thanks to the tower in CLG's favor.
Also, with the Dragon adding on top of the turret global gold, CLG are looking pretty good here. This is going according to their plans. The only thing they haven't been able to take advantage of was the Pantheon jungle early game pressure. And it's actually interesting that he's now hit level 6 as well. So the possibility of 2 global jumps here coming from CLG, they can easily turn something in this bottom lane, and Cop and Edward have to be a little bit wary right now.
That's just something that's a little bit different that we've seen from Big Fat LP. He's spent most of his time in the jungle, and it's, you know, one of the things that's really interesting to see him play is his aggressive, his gank heavy playstyle, but he's not doing it this time, as now he jumps in the mid lane.
So he misses the first. Oh, actually they're diving the turret!
So there they go, Nijak is in trouble, Ignite is down, First Blood's picked up, and they managed to land that one. Grand Skyfall just straight into Nijaki's face.
Yeah, exactly. He only got to use one of the ticks right there. St. Vicious does want to answer, and Big Fat LP with the smallest sidestep to dodge that Q.
So St. Vicious carries on chasing. He uses the flash forward. Dragon's Rage kicks backwards. He stuns up St. Vicious. The Stand United gets channeled. There comes the Shadow from Link.
Oh.
He puts himself in safety. Ignite is ticking away. Link will go down as Voyboy drops as well. That was a 1-for-1 trade. Niantonsa decides to back away from that one.
Beautiful job by Voyboy focusing the opponent that was not getting Stand United, and he was able to pick up a kill for himself, but Nien did answer. That is a large cooldown that's not going to be available for CLG now, so the 1-for-1 trade actually going in favor of Curse.
So in terms of the play as well, St. Vicious flashing forward, then using that safeguard to a minion. So quite interesting start. Nijaki is doing the best that he can in this particular setup. Going to rejoin this mid lane, 0-1 up. He does have a fair CS advantage over Zed right now.
Jackie is pretty much dominating Link right now as far as CS is concerned, but we've seen Link roam a lot, and that's one of the reasons why. He's been going up to that top lane, and they haven't really gotten anything for it, so all of that wasted time for him meant Jackie free farming in mid.
So Jackie's got his that Brutalizer completed, starting to stack up that tier of the Goddess. The CS advantage is balanced out for CLG in the top lane. Niantonsa, with the fact that he was able to swap earlier, and I guess because Voyboy is roaming, you see Niantonsa with a CS advantage in his favor.
And Niantonsa is going tank Shen. This is not going to be the 2 solo lane threats plus double lift that we usually see from CLG. It's Big Fat LP going to be the 3rd threat here. Coming from that jungle, he actually is building Pantheon for damage.
And there comes the Skyfall, stuns up Nijaki, Deathmark goes down. Nijaki's got 400 HP. Will the pop be enough? Yes, it is, like a balloon.
Ooh.
He goes down. St. Vicious chases from the side. Another Sonic Wave does not manage to connect. St. Vicious carries on chasing. 1 second on the clock. Can he land the next one? The stun goes in. St. Vicious is locked in place. The Sonic Wave misses again. Stun goes down from Voyboy, and St. Vicious says, "You ain't going nowhere, son."
No
Kicks
Stand
him in the head.
United going to save him this time, yeah, and he does go down. So that's another 1v1 trade that is made by Big Fat LP jumping in with that Pantheon. And this is the combo that they wanted. They wanted the burst from Link using his full combo, Deathmark, to get that double damage, and then just the extra added CC from Big Fat to finish off Jackie. And there's not much that Jackie can actually do to answer that. So it is always up to St. Vicious to answer every single one of those jumps, and he's been doing his job.
It's interesting to see how Big Fat LP is actually landing them. There's no real trick to it. Just throw it down on mid and land on somebody's head, but it's working.
So the best strategy, actually, with that ultimate from Pantheon is to just cast your Grand Skyfall directly on your opponent, because once that ring appears, they will immediately run for the closest edge of it, and then they have the least chance of getting out if you just cast it right on top of their heads.
So 13 minutes on the clock, 3 kills to 2. CLG have 1,800 gold. Blue buff is being donated over to Link, so he's going to get all that cooldown reduction in his favor. St. Vicious has snuck himself up into this bottom bush. He doesn't have his ultimate available, but it will be very, very soon.
And there is a ward in the second bush, so he really is confined to this second half of the bottom lane here. And you can see he gives up, he's not patient enough, and he's going to recall here. No more action down bottom, unless Big Fat LP decides to use his next Grand Skyfall to take advantage of Draven.
We'll see which lane he does decide to jump on. Grand Skyfall a little over 2 minutes as far as cooldowns are concerned, and it's just become available. His flash will be up soon. His Link, he's sniffing around in the jungle.
Now, if CLG are going to plan this out correctly, they would send all of their members bottom, because Dragons come up in 20 seconds. So they want to try a gank bottom. Whether it's successful or not, they can force someone back.
Psychic, Kobe is psychic. They jump onto Cop down in the bottom lane. Edward throws out the crescendo. He's not going to do anything but slow the pace down. Flay pulls him backwards as the pressure is on. Caitlyn secures the first kill of the game. Now they turn around onto Pantheon. He is dropped by Draven. This is everybody jumping involved. St. Vicious Sonic Wave goes wide as they jump over the attack. And 3 kills down, 4 curse. CLG in a great position.
So that is textbook play when you have a top laner with a global, either teleport or stand united, something like that. And the dragon is up, you always want to send your whole team down to that bottom lane, because you know you'll have the advantage. Even if the tower dive wasn't perfectly executed right there, CLG still come out with a huge advantage because of the extra man that they have. And now they can even go clean up dragon after this.
3 kills, 2 towers, and position on dragon. It's a very good place to be. We do see Nyan is recalling, and he's going to try to defend this top tower from Voyboy.
And Big Fat LP also recalled, so they don't have smite at this dragon. It's a little bit more dangerous because they've used that extra time to push on the secondary turret here.
Got to be very careful. Link drop low to 110. Nijaki, those accelerated shock blasts is really keeping them on the back foot. It's very risky to go for those objectives against a Jace who can just poke you down from range.
So CLG tried to get a little too much off of that dive bottom. Going for the second turret and the dragon, they had 2 people recall, was just too much, and Curse are actually able to regain control.
So well played by Curse to at least get themselves their first map objective of the game. Voyboy gets taunted up in the top lane. Nian's going to carry on putting pressure, but Voyboy's just going to be able to surge himself away to safety. So nothing too risky there.
Yeah, there's no turret up there, so he's going to have to walk all the way back here. And that gives Nian time to farm yet another wave uncontested. He's getting very strong on that Shen, which is exactly what CLG want. Their split pusher to be in the position to solo any member from CLG.
The question is... From Curse. The question from Curse is whether or not they can catch anybody out. They talked about it explicitly in the build-up for this matchup, saying, we know CLG plays the map, and we need to catch them. And they've got a pretty good comp for doing that. Lee Sin, Jace, pretty good at the duels. Kennen can offer dueling as well as teamfight power.
Exactly. They do have a good amount of speed buffs with both Jace and Sona. But it's very hard to lock down either member of CLG that is split pushing, because both of them have dashes and they've got deep wards. Now it's Voyboy in trouble. He used this lightning rush already.
He gets taunted up. They wait for that to just come off. Then the stun goes down. Lightning rushes up. He manages to pop the Zhonya's hourglass. Flash, Ignite is ticking. It's worn off actually. He gets away with his life.
Zhonya's plus Flash is the only thing that was going to get him out of that one. Well played by Voyboy to escape, but they lose pressure on the map.
So now we see the middle lane. That is going to drop. This is the 4th tower of the game for CLG. They have a numbers advantage in the top lane. As Link has been caught out, he got dropped in a second.
That ninja was looking for an assassination too deep in enemy territory right there. Curse catching him out. A great collapse. That's exactly what Curses need to get back in this game.
So they were a couple of kills behind. The kill did land in Draven's hands as well, which will at least help them out if they can get into some of these team fights, giving some of the kills to AD carry. But you really feel that Nijaki needs to get on the board. He needs his poke and his damage with that Jace to be more impactful.
They do need multiple threats here, because while Cop has a decent amount of farm and he's got that Bloodthirster, The answer on the other side is Double Lift rushing that Infinity Edge. So Caitlyn's going to be having those high-impact crits coming from the back line, and they'll need the Shock Blast from Jackie.
Saint Vicious goes in, the Sonic Wave doesn't kick, but he manages to knock back Chalster. The pressure is on. There goes up the Whirling Death, and it secures death onto Chalster. They trade 1-for-1. That is the jungler for the support. Now in the background, Big Fat LP is trying the best he can to get on Cop, and Cop is doing so well at that retreat damage. In the bottom lane, Jackie picks up a tower.
That was very good kiting by Cop. When you are Draven, as you're running away, you always want to be throwing out those axes. Now it's a 1-versus-1.
There goes Link. The death mark is on Jace. Damage is traded back and forth. Ignites are both on. Where does the pop come from? 250 HP as the Ignite wears off. They're trading auto attack damage. Link is waiting for his cooldowns. He wants to go in, but not able to pick up the kill.
Ooh, very, very interesting 1-versus-1 right there. Didn't go right back to the shadow and ran out of cooldown. So now they have to back off, and at range, Jace is the one with the advantage here. So he's going to be firing the Shock Blast, and it is Link that's going to have to calm down a little bit.
So we do see up in the top lane, Nien, he has still continued farming. He's got some wards on that blue buff. He's about to spot out Voyboy, and he's got a 2-level advantage over his lane opponents.
And he's calling over the rest of Curse right now, so they're going to try and contest this blue pickup.
So they have managed to at least try get some numbers, but CLG have arrived. They've walked themselves over a Curse ward, so Curse is going to be well aware that the invading army is there. Lantern is down. That's going to give away Chalster's position. Vision has been denied. And Curse, they may be able to pick this one up securely.
They've actually got 5 members in the area, so too dangerous for CLG to go inside and contest that one. It's unfortunate that they have Thresh as their hook support instead of Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank can actually pull that blue buff over the wall, and you can take it from the other side. So whereas Thresh just stuns it.
Yeah, he just stuns it. That's not enough, Kobe. That's not enough. Right now, Chalster, he's moved himself towards this bottom lane. Pink warded up the red buff. They've got some good vision on this bottom half of the map. And they're basically just looking for picks right now as far as CLG are concerned.
Yeah. Well, Curse are definitely looking for picks, and CLG are looking to split push with not only their Shen, but also CLG Link. He's got mobility boots on that Zed, so he's going to try and make use of that wave clear and get to the middle of the map as soon as possible. Now Jackie under attack again.
There goes the Deathmark. Grand Skyfall comes in. Jackie's going to get popped from that damage. Pantheon comes in, stuns him in place, throws a spear and secures the kill.
That's the danger when you're going up against the global composition, is being caught out yourself when you're looking for picks and you're trying to pick off someone of CLG. They actually have 2 members that could join the fight very easily.
While all that was going on, we see cooldowns have been blown in the top lane. Ignite for both Kanan and Shen, as well as that slicing Maelstrom. So Voyboy and Nien, they were going at it. They were going toe-to-toe, but nobody going down in that exchange.
Double Lift taking an axe to the face right there. Does bleed a little bit more than he would like and has to back off.
Only Double Lift can survive an axe to the face. Right now, 32,000 gold. CLG still hold a slowly earned lead, although it is 20 minutes on the clock. It's still fairly early in the game. 3 tower advantage, 5,000 gold, 4 kills. This is basically just CLG setting the tempo of the game.
Yeah, this is classic CLG, and this is not anything new for Curse. They were aware of what CLG was going to do. Yes, they're going to split push all day, but they haven't had an answer for it. They were going to look for picks. He talked about it in the interview. They just haven't been able to make any of those successful ganks work out. CLG have always been one step ahead here, and Big Fat LP has done a really good job with those Grand Skyfalls, keeping up the pressure on the map.
So let's have a look at his items right now. Playing Pantheon in the jungle. Last time I can remember Pantheon jungle was Hercubot during the end of the spring split. He's picked up his Brutalizer, a couple of cloth armors, as well as that Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Was it something you would expect from a Pantheon jungle?
Well, look at this Link here. He might go for the assassination on the Oracles. He thinks twice about it, doesn't want to go all in and sacrifice his life. Anyway, yes, the Pantheon build here from Big Fat LP is the little bit of early damage from Brutalizer, but he's not going crazy. This is the same Big Fat LP that everyone knows and loves. He's going to go tanky after this. That's what he usually builds on his junglers. Meanwhile, the split push from CLG that everyone knew was going to come is taking effect right now.
Yeah, take a look. Zed in the bottom lane, Shen in the top lane. Just a matter of CLG using that superior vision to their advantage. They've just lost some wards on that bottom half of the map, so wouldn't be surprised to see a Link starting to back off now.
So the plan here for Curse is to get together and use the Jace acceleration gate to go after the grouped up members of CLG. Whatever CLG send their 3 members to, that's where Curse should go try and force their fight. They need to make something happen here, because if they keep letting CLG go to any lane that they want, then they're just going to continue falling behind in gold.
So at this moment in time, Curse, they're starting to group up towards this top lane, so maybe this is the fight they want, but the problem is Nyjaki's Jace is all the way down on that bottom inhibitor. We do see them going in on Chowster, though. Dragon's Range is followed up. St. Vicious is diving after the support, while he's left his carry and support alone. Double Lift is in the background as the Whirling Death rattles across, dealing damage. Nien is fending off 3 members as he decides to flash over the wall as Draven joins the party. Down in the bottom lane, they've managed to trade 1 for 1, but that's a trade that Nyjaki is actually not bad. 1 versus 2, picking up a kill.
And it gives some extra damage here from Big Fat LP onto the turret. He has to be careful, though, because Curse are recalling right now, and Voyboy still has his Slicing Maelstrom up. He didn't use it in that last skirmish.
So right now, Big Fat LP is going to back away, does not manage to get the tower, but crucially, his ultimate is still available. So that trade, that 2v1, was just him walking into lane, probably burning the flash over the wall. As you can see, it is on cooldown.
They definitely have the upper hand right now. CLG do not even have to look at Baron. That bottom inhibitor turret being so low means that Curse are going to have to keep somebody at all times ready to defend that one. Because once you open one lane of your base to a team like CLG right now, then you've just given up so much pressure, especially that bottom lane, which is far away from Baron.
They've got a lot of vision down in that bottom half of the map, that's CLG, so if they did decide to pay that extra love or attention down there, they could do it a little bit more securely. Right now, Curse, they're trying to, I guess they're just trying to find the gear right now, because they've only got that 1 dragon, they've only got a couple towers to their names, and they haven't really made a play on their terms.
Well, CLG are really just taking away all the options from Curse right now, one at a time. They're clearing out the wards, so the option for picking off a member of CLG is very, very risky, being that they still have that Stand United up to join whoever does get caught. And since they have the split pushing damage down bottom, they're taking away the option of Curse to waste any sort of time, because that Link can easily take that turret out if left alone.
So we'll see how this pans out. 4 members of Curse grouped up in this mid lane. They want to try and siege down this tower, but that short range of Draven, as you were talking about, might make it a little difficult. Here comes the Grand Skyfall, gets channeled. Pantheon drops in. Stand United's being channeled. They definitely want that, but he gets told to step aside by Draven. Nyjaki's on the retreat. Acceleration gate is up. That gives him the movement speed required to get away safely.
Oh, it was a good disengage by Curse, but Saint gets caught.
So there we go. Saint's the first to fall. Whirling Death is out. Curse now on the aggressive. The Slicing Maelstrom is down. They pick up 2 in this engage so far. Carry on with the chase. Make that 1 instead. There's a flash forward. Stand decided to double lift. The axes are whirling. Barrier is up. Double lift manages to survive. They've turned their focus. This is split right now. Draven falls under the tower thanks to that stun on Pantheon. Now Big Fat LP carry on chasing. Link is in the background. Nyjak and Voyboy, they split away from the pack. They left their carry and support, and now Link doing the best he can. He gets shut down, killed in that tri-bush.
3 members of Curse are on the hunt, though. CLG are on the hunt, and Curse are the ones running.
So they're going to try recall. This is a bit of a smart move. Big Fat LP's got 100 HP. He gets knocked back. That was a massive amount of damage. They weren't expecting that. Both members of Curse not anticipating that HP drop. And at the end of it, that was a staggered ace, effectively, against Curse.
They did pick up the 5 kills, but at the beginning of it, it was Cop flashing forward on that Draven, which is a very, very risky thing to do, but it's something that they've wanted him to do, be more aggressive, and he did get the stand aside landing onto double lift, but wasn't able to finish him off. And so then by him getting stunned under turret, it just took away so much of the damage from Curse that the tables completely flipped.
That was the first team fight that we've seen Curse really re-engaging on, that they sort of said, we want to do this on our terms. Didn't work out for the best, and we've seen both Voyboy and Nyjaki splitting away from Cop and Edward. They decided to chase Link's Zed instead of stay grouped up, and we've seen earlier St. Vicious again splitting away from his team. Maybe not everybody's on the exact same page in these team fights.
But that is exactly what Curse are pretty much looking for. They want the hard engage. It was fortunate for them that Big Fat LP and CLG decided to start that one off. They used both of their globals to actually get that fight. So Curse, not disappointed with the way that one went.
So they got a fair amount of damage onto this tower. It'll take 1 or 2 auto attacks with Draven and Jace there. That will drop down. Kill credit goes to St. Vicious. on that Lee Sin. And that will secure them their third tower of the game. But take a look at this. Again, Nien and Link split pushing. They basically live in their top and bottom lanes respectively.
And they don't have to change this strategy. There's been nothing from Curse to force them to stop split pushing both side lanes.
So we'll see if it can work in their favor. Right now, Double Lift with that immense range on Caitlyn has started off Baron Nashor with the assistance of Big Fat LP. He's going to do the best he can to take this
pings
one
on
up.
Baron.
So they do have a little bit of vision, and here comes Curse. Shock Blast is up. Big Fat LP uses the Grand Skyfall to get to safety.
Now Baron's low though, and Curse are just going to take it up.
It does look like they want to get it. There goes the Death Sentence in. They flash forward. Crescendo locks them up. Whirling Death goes forward, but Big Fat LP manages to secure Baron. Chauster dies in the engagement though. Double Lift flashes past the Shock Blast on the left-hand side. Big Fat LP is probably going to get taken down. He is shut down by Draven. Ace in the hole is going to secure the killing blow onto Nightjackie. Up in the river, Nien is taking on 3. He's tanking 3. He is so beefy. The damage is just not there. Another juke away from the CLG members. They did get Baron. Cobb is not over. He carries on chasing, but Nien flashes to safety.
That was just amazing play from CLG right there. It was a game of leapfrog where they all jumped over the back wall of Baron to start it up, then escaped using their ultimates there from Big Fat LP and got back in once again. Chauster on the Thresh play, hooking Baron and throwing a second Dark Paxis over his back to bring in Big Fat LP for yet another beautiful smite steal onto Baron.
So well played by Big Fat LP, really showing that his timing and usage of that smite is unstoppable right now, the splits.
And for Chauster, we have to finally shout out Chauster. For once, the Thresh play, that was very well executed, able to bring his teammates over the wall and back twice. Basically just everybody all aboard that Thresh train, and they came out of it with the Baron, even though they lost out on kills.
So well played to them. They hold their 5,000 gold advantage right now. Starting to see some very big items completed across the board. Warmogs for Shen, Warmogs for Zed. Over on the other side, we have double Randion's Omens with Saint Vicious and for Nightjackie. And, that's a very early Randoms for Jace, but again, he had to deal with a Pantheon, Caitlyn, and a Zed.
Yeah, you could definitely say this CLG team is a little bit AD heavy.
So let's take a look at that Baron fight replay once again. Talk me through this one, Kobe.
So this is actually the second time they jump over the wall. Big Fat LP uses his Grand Skyfall to get out, and Chauster had flash. But now he hooks back in, brings in LP with the Lantern, and even though the crescendo hits, you can still use that Summoner Smite, and Big Fat LP lands it beautifully. Now it's basically the split here. Big Fat LP running the gauntlet, able to juke out, and now let's get back to the live game.
So really, really well played by CLG. Their level of communication and their decision making in the Baron pit seemed really spot on. The split push pressure is back on. Nien does have Stand United available. Wits End completed, as well as that Sunfire Cape. He's split pushing incredibly effectively at this stage in the game.
And another note on that last fight there, the only way you can stop Big Fat LP from smiting is to use a suppression on him. Nothing like that is available for Curse. So, there's no answer. They can't stop him from taking that one away. As the bottom turret goes down and Nien gets a taunt.
So Cop is taunted up. He's doing a lot of damage in reply, but that's incredibly tanking Nien. And Nien is winning that engagement. He's simply not taking enough damage. He taunts up Cop. The pressure is still on. Barrier gets forced out by Cop. That was Ignite Burn from Nien as well. He actually wants to kill Cop's Draven.
And this is the popularity of that Wit's End. It steals magic resistance. And since Shen has so much magic damage from not only his kit, but also his Sunfire Cape, he puts out plenty of damage, and he can actually 1v1 an AD carry.
So it's definitely working in their favor. You've seen how easily he was making that work. A stun goes down for Big Fat LP. Saint Vicious engages in. The box is down. Chauster gets kicked backwards. Dragon Rage has been used. Stand United gets channeled onto Thresh as Crescendo locks him up. That Stand United was interrupted. There is no Shen in this party. Link will be able to pick one up onto Voyboy, but this is a fight that's going in Curse's favor so far until Link manages to pick one up in reply. Can he get Nightjackie? Living Shadow goes forward. Auto attacks are down. Link with a triple kill. He's looking for 4, looking for the quadra. Instead, he's going to stick on the minion wave, and Link carried hard that fight.
The only reason Link was able to carry that, though, is... Oh, no, just kidding. I want to shout out the Cop stand aside onto Nien right there. The only reason Link was able to carry that fight is because that Shen ultimate was...
interrupted.
Was interrupted there. Okay, now let's actually look at that
Shen Draven fight in the bottom lane.
Once again, there it is. So he gets taunted up, but Cop is not scared away. He goes and hunts down Nien after this.
Take a look at that. Taunts him up the amount
so ridiculously low.
So
and then they're calling for it. He does get the kill. Nien not able to finish him off. So after the Stand United interrupt on Shen, he also gets the kill. Wanted to shout out Cop there, but I got a little mixed up with Link. You get the idea.
We get the idea, Kobe. We get the idea. Curse right now with these glimpses of hope. They're only 7,000 gold behind right now. They're at least keeping themselves in at this moment in time. They have not lost an inhibitor, but they do have an inhibitor exposed. And against the split-pushing power of Shen and Zed, it's definitely something that they're going to need to react to if or when CLG decide to play aggressive.
And like I said before, when the inhibitor turret is down, you've lost such a large amount of control of objectives. Here goes the all-in on Voidboy.
So they've jumped on him. The death mark is down. Voidboy's going to be able to Zonya's Hourglass up the damage. It's not going to hold him in place. Crescendo locks down both Big Fat LP and Chauster. Now they're flashing. They're trying to get to safety. First kill of the fight goes to Cop. Draven carries on, chasing as Voidboy moves forward. Link uses that Living Shadow to go backwards, and CLG split. Nightjackie left alone to face off against Doublelift and Chauster. They get one in this engagement, but CLG successfully peel away.
Great job there by Link with the distraction. He was able to confuse Curse, and they split in the team fight, not able to pick up any more kills than they already had from that ill-fated ambush in the jungle. That's why you don't death mark onto someone who has Zonya's, because basically half of the Zed damage there was avoided.
So well played by Voidboy. Make sure you got the timing up as well. He survived that engagement after going very, very low and taking all of that upfront burst. And a 1-for-0 kill that's in favor of Cop. He is 6-2-2 on that Draven, with the makings of Arandian's Omen himself potentially.
Because the enemy team is so much AD, it's only really Nien that's putting out a lot of magic damage. Then they can afford to have everyone build extra armor here on the Curse team.
It's something that we've seen over in some of the European teams when they stack these AD-heavy compositions. I'm thinking back to Ninjas in Pajamas in Week 2, where they played a very similar comp. Their opponent's team just stacked all this armor, built a Thorn Mail after 35 minutes, and they couldn't be killed. There was nothing that they could do to get through it.
The thing about it is that all the members on CLG know that this is a weakness in their comp, and they're building Last Whispers. So they are definitely getting through a large chunk of that armor, and it's not quite as effective. So they still have plenty of damage potential.
So Nien is going to taunt up Cop, stand aside, and that one misses. Doesn't hold Nien in place. He's going to carry on chasing, takes a couple of auto attacks, but decides no vision, not willing to go more aggressive into the jungle.
He remembers what happened to him last time he went up against Cop. He got beat back down, and he does have the Stand United, so if they do break out a fight up by Baron, it will still be a 5 versus 5 here. Now is the time that Curse have to act, though, because the inhibitor is exposed.
So we do see Shen. He's moving down to this bottom lane. He's doing the best he can to siege it up. Nightjackie with an immediate recall. It's going to get interrupted. He eats the bullet, in fact. But Nien is backing away, so he's not going to keep the pressure up on that actual inhibitor. And Curse successfully thwart the second Baron attempt.
So what Nien has to do is build up his minion wave down there to help him get more damage on the inhibitor. And then, again, have the rest of CLG continue to wait around Baron and draw Curse over to that area. So you can see Nien went all the way back to his minion wave, and now he's trying to build it up there and slowly push as Big Fat LP gets engaged on.
Stand United gets channeled. 4 members of Curse are there. They're going to jump in. Shen does arrive. It's not interrupted this time. Link is down towards the bottom. He gets locked up by Crescendo. He's the first one to fall. They turn their focus to Nien Tansa, but he's going to take so much killing before he goes down. The box is dropped by Chaucer, trying to control the fight as Nien flashes away to safety. Curse still grouped together. That's 4 members. They drop Chaucer. This is their third kill of the fight. This is a great fight for Curse. They've lost nobody and the pressure is still on. The Lightning Rush is not available, but Slicing Maelstrom and Flash is. If they want to carry on, Voidboy has the tools available.
Well, they definitely want to change over focus to this Baron area and see if Saint can land a smite combo with the Sonic Wave.
So we'll see if this works out. Baron is up. Big Fat LP is down. Grand Skyfall is available, but this Baron will be gone by time he respawns. And that was a fantastic trade for Curse. All of a sudden, they now get power and presence thanks to this Baron.
This is the hard engage that I was talking about Curse needing to do. They have to make a play on CLG. They can't wait around for the split push to take effect. And they did an amazing job right there, starting it up against Big Fat LP very early and getting out so much damage before Nien joined the fight that they were able to win it even with the Stand United coming in.
What we did see from CLG is the inability to stay grouped in that entire fight. Curse just such a death ball rolling together. Right now, Void Boy, he didn't even use his ultimate. He still has it available. Void Staff, Riley's Crystal Scepter, as well as that Zhonya's Hourglass. He's all about the damages.
And he has a lot of extra CC here too, with the Rylai's Crystal Scepter slowing down enemies. After the mini stun, they're still going to be slowed, and it's going to be harder for them to try and get out of that slicing maelstrom. So he will be causing a lot of havoc on the back line of CLG.
And for the first time in a very long time, Curse are going to be able to challenge for that dragon. They've really been confined to their half of the map, but thanks to some of this confidence they've been getting over the course of the last fights, they managed to secure their third dragon of the total game.
You can see the pings coming out from CLG on both side lanes. Once again, they want to continue split pushing because now that Curse have the Baron buff, it will be very, very hard for them to actually win a 5vs5 fight, and they would much rather trade inhibitor for inhibitor.
So right now, Curse is stacked up as the numbers. They've got the mid inner turret down. Now they're on the inhibitor turret. Shen and Zed are not reacting. First inhibitor of the game is going to go to Curse, and it doesn't look like they're going to let up.
Curse would just like to go on these Nexus turrets, and they're actually even going to tank them up. Now is the time that they have to recall. Link is going to try and get that inhibitor before it goes back, but it might be too late.
Link is doing the best he can. He's deciding to back away. Nexus turret number 2 is down. Crescendo locks up Big Fat LP and double lift. Can they do it? Curse carry on with the pressure. They're focusing down Nien. He survived for so long. Void Boy's down. The Nexus is done. Curse have done it. They backdoor the game.
Oh, Jackie was focusing